I walked under the bridge and found chunks of concrete falling off. MoDOT crews have been pulling in and out all morning. Some people living in these apartments have already moved out, like the rooms 113 and 114 here at the Providence Inn and Suites. Other people I talked to today are in the process of moving out and loading up their vehicles. A dead body was picked up in this tree line just a few hours ago. I went on a hunt today with my camera, of course, but the only deer that I saw were the ones on these signs.
Columbia, you can see we are right on the line right now. Snow up to our northwest.
I'm in California right now, and winds are starting to pick up, those winds that Kenton was talking about. We have been tracking this system that really started to originate in Joplin, Missouri, down to our southwest. That system is continuing to fire up a little bit, and actually about 30 minutes ago there was a tornado warning issued for the northeastern part of Dade County and southern Polk County, so right outside our viewing area. That warning has been dropped, and now there are just some thunderstorm watches in effect for those portions of the area. However, we are continuing to track that system, as we don't know if it will start to cook up a little bit more as it gets closer to California. We will be here at 10 o'clock, maybe even hit the road again in our KOMU8 car and give you another live update of this system.
I could even fit half a yardstick through the bottom of the girder or underside of the bridge where concrete broke off.
I made a long-distance call this week to outer space and talked to crew members on board the International Space Station. I encourage you to look up, because right now, astronaut Mike Hopkins is orbiting Earth performing innovative research for NASA, but his desire to invent actually began on a family farm near Richland, Missouri.
Well, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard, Columbia.
Dramatic view from the International Space Station.
We are going to start warming up, though, for tomorrow because we have this high-pressure system out to our west.
Sheriff Heitman released these documents to me following our request, a 20-page statement from the alleged victim, Courtney Mahaney, and supplemental reports detailing incidents involving Osage County Sheriff Michael Dixon.
A week ago, two cars collided here at this intersection at Bernadette and Stadium Boulevard. Luckily, no one was injured. And I'm Maddie Heidenreich. Police confirmed that 3 people were injured in a shooting in the downtown area. Multiple shots were fired near the corner of 10th and Broadway about 12:30 this morning. The downtown area was back to normal this afternoon, but early this morning, the crime scene tape and numerous law enforcement vehicles gave Columbia a look far from normalcy. We were sent amateur video by a viewer. Officers in the area responded when they heard several gunshots.
Bam, 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 bam. As I was running, I saw people running close to me, towards me and away from the situation. So that's my first suspicions of whether it was a gunshot.
Columbia police say one victim had multiple gunshots to the lower body. The buildings behind me are classrooms for the roughly 180 students here at Cedar Ridge Elementary. I spoke to the principal, and she says one of her concerns is how students get from these buildings to the main one if severe weather hits. She said the bond passage comes at a very good time.
We joke, we call it Camp Cedar Ridge.
Not a camp, but a classroom. Last night, more than 7,000 people voted in favor of a hefty bond for Columbia Public Schools.
Possibly even replaced Cedar Ridge Elementary, which is a very, very small building with almost half of the students in it in trailers.
The money will come from a 4-cent increase in the district's debt levy. Sessions says that means an average homeowner will pay an additional $12 a year in property taxes.
It's not a very large impact to the average homeowner in Columbia, and they will see that increase in December of this year when they receive the property tax. This increase is only for the Columbia Public School District, so it's a little larger than the city, but not the whole county.
The Boone County Fire Protection District also won voter approval for a $14 million bond in Tuesday's election. Residents living in the jurisdiction will pay more in taxes to replace old equipment and to build a new fire station.
$100,000 house, it's about $47 a year.
Homeowners will see the tax increase for both of the bonds by the end of the year, and depending on where you live, you may have to pay both. Reporting live in Columbia, Maddie Heidenreich, KOMU8 News.
Drivers use them every day and may not even think twice before driving over or under Missouri bridges. KOMU8's Maddie Heidenreich looked into bridge data and projects to see if the state can keep up with aging and deteriorating infrastructures.
People who drive under this bridge every day may notice that it's starting to deteriorate on the underneath side.
Joe Alder is talking about the I-70 overpass near Business Loop 70.
Nearly 60,000 cars drive across this overpass almost every single day. That's not even to mention the cars that drive underneath. I walked under the bridge and found chunks of concrete falling off, even in one spot over the roadway.
I snapped some pictures of this bridge to show Charles Nemmers, an MU professor who studies the nation's transportation infrastructure, and here's his reaction.
When I saw it, certainly it's not comfortable because you saw steel exposed, reinforcing steel exposed in the bottom of a concrete girder.
I could even fit half a yardstick through the bottom of the girder or underside of the bridge where concrete broke off. Nemmers took a closer look at that spot and says the concrete on this type of bridge is not meant for strength.
Concrete around that steel keeps it so it looks nice and smooth, and it doesn't really have it's significant, but it's not really important for the strength of the bridge.
And MoDOT says there really is nothing to worry about.
You know, just because you had a large hole or void up in there doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. In this particular instance, that's the way it was designed, that's the way it was built.
But Nemmers says the bridge still needs work.
I saw that it was gone, if you would, or it had collapsed out and you could stick it a little bit and it would come loose. That's not really good. And so it needs to be fixed.
I'm hoping that the MoDOT inspects it on a periodic basis, a frequent basis, just to make sure that no large chunks of concrete would fall off from the underside of the bridge, fall onto a vehicle, a bicyclist or a pedestrian, and potentially kill or injure them.
MoDOT's last inspection here was in 2011.
This one here is just getting to a point where it served its purpose, and you know, we've got a lot of traffic on it. We're starting to get some deterioration, so we do have it in the program to be replaced. Now we just got to figure out what are we able to put back in there.
In fact, the complete replacement of this bridge should take place in 2015 and cost MoDOT about $10 million. Maddie Heidenreich, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.